As a priest of 22 years in the church, there are 3 cycles of readings. I've been through 7 cycles plus, and I still don't understand this gospel. I asked my brother priests. They don't understand the gospel. I've consulted online and through books of scripture scholars, and they have varying opinions about this gospel. Why would Jesus, or why would the Master praise the dishonest steward? We live a life, however long, that is a gift to us. The question is, what do we do with that gift? How do we live out with what we have received and are given every day of our lives? Many people, when they get to their end-of-life experience, or we see it on the horizon, sometimes we begin to look or reflect or look forward to what's coming. It's inevitable, right? And sometimes we take an accounting of how we lived our life. And for some people, as a priest that I've experienced, some people get to a certain age in their life and they go, I got to get my act together. They use other words, but I got to get my act together. I lived this life a certain way, and now I see that the end is coming close. And for some people, it's making amends through the sacrament of reconciliation. For others, it's reconciling with other people. It's getting their life together. Sometimes in the very last minutes of their life. The steward was caught doing something wrong in how he managed the master's affairs. What was entrusted to him, he didn't take care of in the way that the master thought he should. And then he went, oh, all right, how do I fix this? Oftentimes when we are caught in something we know we shouldn't be doing, we do just the same. How do I fix this? Whether it be at work or at home or in our situations or life experiences or relationships, we try to somehow fix it. Often because we knew we should have fixed it a long time ago, but we finally got caught. And so we have to fix it. In today's gospel, the steward does the same thing. How do I fix it? He knew all along that he was not living the life he should live. He was not living up to what it meant to be a good steward. In the time of Jesus, the steward of the household would often charge a transaction fee. When I was growing up, we would play Monopoly. My dad was always the banker. And my dad always charged a transaction fee. For when real estate was bought or sold, there was a bank fee that would go along with that. My dad always won Monopoly. And the steward was doing just the same. He was charging a fee, an exchange fee, a transaction fee. Most likely not a fair one. And he was caught, and he needed to fix it. We are entrusted with much. We are called to be good stewards of what God has given to us. Are we? Are we good stewards of the love that God offers to us? Are we good stewards of the mercy that God shares with us? And are we generous with those gifts given to us? Are we generous with our time, our resources, finances, love, mercy? Are we generous? Because what God gives us isn't ours anyway. It's gifted to us to be utilized and lived out in our lives every day. What do we do with it? And I've had people tell me, Father, what I have is not a gift. I earned it. Okay. If that's what you think, fine. What do we do with what we have? How do we live out day to day the giftedness that we have in our life? And for some, it's hard to even see. For some people, they don't even see the giftedness of God's presence in their life. Some of us walk around with horrible understandings of life and of God. And we express that. Some of us don't experience God's love. Some of us don't feel the mercy of God. And so we're not generous with what we don't feel God has given to us. We are gifted people. May not be to the point where we think we're gifted enough, but we are gifted. What do we do with it? What do we do with what God has given to us? Do we live it out to its fullest? The master most likely entrusted his whole household to the steward, trusting that he would take care and be responsible for what he was given. And the master found out he wasn't. And at some point in our life, we're going to be held accountable for what how we have lived our life. In all its resources, in all its gift, in all of our opportunities in life, there's going to be an accounting. We're going to get caught if we're not living the life that God has given to us to its fullest. And for some of us, we'll go, oh, how do I fix it? For some people, it's that end-of-life experience. They hear horrible news or they have a medical emergency and they go, oh, and then they end up calling the priest. Come, my husband wants to see you now. And I'll say to the wife, I didn't know you were married. My husband's sick, come and see him. Never met the man before, never knew he existed, but he wants to see me because he almost kicked the bucket. And for some people, that's the moment when they go, oh, how do I fix it? And for others, it's never an opportunity. For some of us, we never get that understanding of how do we fix it? How do we change the way we're living our life? But there's going to be an accounting. We don't have to get to a crisis to go, oh. We can say, you know what? I'm not living my life to the fullest. I'm not sharing with what God has given to me with others. I'm not being generous. And I want to fix it now. I want to live the life that God has called me to live now. Not when something happens or there's a crisis or we get caught. It can happen today. For us to sit back and go, I'm not living the life that I should be living. I'm not doing the things that God has asked me to do. I've gotten caught up into sin and negativity and anger and unforgiveness. And it's not helping me. It's not helping me to be the person that I'm supposed to be and how I'm supposed to live my life. And I want to change it now. And we have the opportunity. It doesn't have to be a crisis. It doesn't have to be a moment of, oh my God, now what do I do? Call the priest. It can happen now, today, for us to sit back and go, God has something so much better for me. And how do I embrace it, live it, and love it? And ultimately share it in my life. The choice is mine. The opportunity is given to us. The giftedness is being poured into our lives every day. And yet sometimes we wait until there's a moment of crisis. This guy would have never changed had he not gotten caught. He would have kept living the life that he was living because he was profiting from being dishonest. And then he went, oh, now I can change. It doesn't have to be this moment of crisis. It can be right now when we sit back and go, God has called me to a better life, to be generous with what he is pouring into me and to live it to the fullest. I don't want to go before the judgment seat of God and say, well, I didn't get caught, so I didn't change. I knew I should have. I knew I should have left things behind. I knew I should have quit doing things that I was doing so that I could focus on being generous and loving and caring for those you've given to me in my life. It's not our gift anyway. It's God's gift to us to be shared and lived to the fullest. Our job is to do just that. To live what God has given to us and continues to give to us to the fullest.